Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Deed Harrison here of Chiropractic Biophysics Seminars and Technique and Chiropractic Biophysics Nonprofit, our spine research organization. We always have new guests, exciting information, brand new research, and clinical practice tidbits for you guys out there. Welcome to the Chiropractic Biophysics Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Chiropractic Biophysics Podcast. All you podcasters out there, hopefully you guys are enjoying our new kickoff for 2026 and the content we're bringing you. I know it might not be everything you want, but you know what? We just do our own thing and we do the best we can. We try to bring you cutting edge information from around the profession, from a science, philosophy, and art, and from a practice building perspective. With me, as usual, my good friend, Dr. Joe Ferrantelli, my good friend, Dr. Jason Jaeger.
Hello.
And then we have a special guest, not a doctor, but he's an honorary CBP. I almost called you doctor.
He could be.
So what we're going to be doing in this podcast, we're actually going to have a business focus, right? Carl is a very interesting person in the world. We've just connected with him over the last year with CBP Technique and Dr. Joe Ferrantelli, and just on a personal level too. Carl is not a chiropractor. He is a business person.
Yes. Deed froze, and that was a great intro. Deed has a storm going on, and he's texting me right now. So let me just give you a little background here first, because Carl, if you may, I got to tell the story. I love the story. Is that okay with you? Okay.
Yeah, so for those of you listening, it's how a tech entrepreneur gets into the chiropractic space. This is definitely the most unique way that I've ever heard it happening, and I'm excited for Joe to tell it from his perspective.
Yeah, and Carl and Joe, it takes cold call to a new level. And so it's a really special, organic way for two human beings to meet and start off with a level of trust. So I can't wait to hear Joe's perspective.
Yeah,
and you got to chime in too, Carl.
Yeah, so I tell the story. People that have heard this, I mean, there's obviously our community, only the close-knit people have heard this, but this was divine intervention on how I met Carl. And what happened was, it all goes back to one of my favorite pastimes in Carl's. We were snow skiing last February at Snow Basin. And so I get stuck at Snow Basin in Utah. If you guys have never skied in Snow Basin, the problem is that there's no real hotels around that area. You drive in and then you drive out. You're supposed to have your own car. Well, Ubers sometimes are not the most reliable, which I kind of found that out. So I'm there with my brother. Yeah, I'm there with my brother, who's an ex-cop. And basically what happens is we get stuck. It's like 3:00. We get stuck. And I'm like complaining to the local guy that, the worker there. And I'm like, we're stuck. What do I do? I'm here with my brother. I can't get a cab. I can't get an Uber. I can't get a Lyft. What do I do? Can you call the cops and have them bring me to the precinct and we'll try from there or something? And
Mind you, I'm wearing a full onesie cosmic spacesuit that I ski in. I'm with a buddy, and I overhear Joe saying to the mountain host, being like, "Hey, I can't get a ride." Mind you, I've never done this in my life. I turn around and I sized Joe up, and I was like, "Hey, it looks like a nice guy." And I turn around and I said, "Hey man, where are you going?" And he looks at me like, "Are you talking to me?" And I said, "Yeah, where are you going?" And he goes, "I'm going to Park City. What's it to you?" And I said, "I'll give you a ride." And little does he know that I live in Park City. And then Joe, I'll let you.
Yeah. So what happened at that point? I go, "What do you mean you'll give us a ride?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'll give you a ride. I've never given a hitchhiker a ride, and I'll start with you." And I go back he goes, "Wait here, I'll be back. I'll go get the car. I'll be back in like 15 minutes. So I go back and tell my brother, the ex-cop, "Hey, Mike, by the way, we're going to hitchhike." And imagine, if you will, what an ex-cop who was a cop for 30 years, would say to hitchhiking. And my brother's a big dude. He's a big guy. He's on the U.S. powerlifting Olympic team. And he goes, "We're going to hitchhike?" And I said, "Yes." And so what happens is we come back up and then there's no Carl. There's nobody there. I'm like, and he's like, "I think you just got ghosted." I'm like, "No, I have a good feeling about this guy." And then Carl pulls up and he goes, "Hey guys, come on in. Let's go ahead and take a ride." And so he gives us a lift, not knowing us. All I know is there's a skier dressed, in an interesting outfit that wants to give us a ride with his buddy. And my brother was like, "Don't worry, Joe. I'm a professional. If something happens, I think we can take him, because we're sitting in the back seat." Carl doesn't know this by any means. He doesn't know any of this is going on. So he starts to ask my brother. He's going through all his cop stories. I go through it and he asks me what I do. Now, of course, as you can tell by this intro, I can talk, right? And I go through about what CBP is, how it's unique and different. What about technology? What we're doing with AI and machine learning and all this type of stuff. And Carl goes, "I'd like to learn more." And he won't tell me specifically what he does. And he just wants to genuinely know about what we do and just wanted to know. And I keep going on and on and on about what he does. And I think at that point, Carl, you said, "Well, I'm in tech," right? During the car ride, I didn't really know, but you said, "I want to work with you."
Mind you, my buddy next to me knows all who I am and is laughing hysterically, knowing that Joe has no clue that I can elevate his career and vice versa.
Right. And then so what happens is I go through and Carl was like so genuine and so nice. And he's like, "Hey, I really want to work with you. What you guys have, it sounds amazing. Promise me you'll call me and connect." Now, as Carl has probably seen this on his side, I've most certainly seen it on my side. You almost build up, and we shouldn't do this, but we do. We're human. We almost build up a callus to the being pitched, if you will. Because, people pitch me all the time. "Hey, Joe, I got this great idea. I want to do this, or I want to start this business." And Carl, I'm sure once you find out a little bit more, this is times 1,000 on what's happened with him. So I go back and we drop off and I pay the guy $100 and he won't take my money. I'm like, "Carl, I'm dropping this $100. It's for the gas. It's the right thing to do. Please take my money." He's like, "Joe, I'm not taking your money." Anyway, it's funny to hear this whole story. I go back and then my brother said, "Hey, you know what? I really like that guy." I'm like, "I do too. He's really genuine." He's like, "He sounds like he wants to work with you. Why don't you start and just like Google him and see who he is?" And that's when I Googled him. And all these podcasts come up with Mr. Carl Case. And short story, we wind up driving to Utah with his next. It was a startup kind of at that time. But I want to, Carl, can you give them just a glimpse history of where you came from and why this is so impactful and how we came together and why we have a new tech company? And then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of everything. Go ahead. I'll let you take from here. And if I left anything out, go ahead. Tell the story.
Thanks, Joe. I definitely remember that car ride really well, and me internally laughing my butt off, knowing that there was a prosperous future ahead, and you being very clueless, thinking that you're getting taken by some ski bum. But yeah, I'm super fortunate to be here. Thanks, Dr. J and Dr. Joe. I'm honored to be on a Chiropractic Biophysics podcast. Definitely not something that a year ago I would have told you was in my wheelhouse. So I'm Carl Case. I came from heaven like all of you, and a really great story. I'm actually the 100th in vitro baby in the state of Florida, so I'm showing my age here. My parents really tried hard to bring me into this planet, and I love people, but most importantly, I love animals. I have been the founder of 13 animal sanctuaries with the mission of spaying and neutering in South America and Central Eastern Europe. To date, as this podcast is being recorded, we have spayed and neutered 18,000 animals.
Wow.
And cleaned up the streets of countries like Aruba and Guatemala. And I definitely love that. But reason that we're here is I'm a technologist. I love solutions. I love data. If I could drip it in an IV every day, I would. And I've had a really wild career for a 33-year-old man. At least that's what the whole world keeps telling me. So I started off in the promotion space, selling concert tickets to college students and low cost drinks by getting them to join a text message marketing campaign when I was a student at the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. And over 5.5 years, yes, I did not want to leave college. For those of you that haven't been to Tuscaloosa, you don't get it. For those of you that have, I know, I wish I could have stayed 7 years.
Yeah.
And I basically told college students, and had 17 universities where I had staff to encourage students and bar owners to join. We got a list of 600,000 college students subscribed to our database over 5 years to get low cost drinks and concerts. So my buddies and I would go to the bar across the street. We'd look at the bar over there, know that we have 500 people opted in. We'd make a deal with the guy across the street, send a text. Within 5 minutes, hundreds of people are leaving and going to the next place. So I had the power at the fingertips on the computer, which was so cool for a 19-year-old little jit to have. And I learned the power of communication and texting really early. Here's a statistic that's been the same since 2011 when I started there. I have goosebumps thinking about it. 98% of all text messages are opened and read within 4 minutes. There is not any communication channel on the planet that you can reach a 98% audience in 4 minutes. I could text every one of my family members, and they wouldn't answer on the first go in the first quarter.
Right.
So this is really a really powerful statistic that I hope resonates with you, with all the docs and people listening here. Start texting. It's a really powerful tool, and it remains powerful even 20 years later. So I got the power of texting, was fortunate to link up with Ticketmaster, sold the database to them in 2015.
Wow.
And I was sitting on a couple $100,000 in cash, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm 23, I'm rich. Let me go buy a bunch of cars that do nothing for me except get me in trouble and meet the wrong people.
Right.
So that lasted a very short period of time. And I integrated my texting ideas with a larger software at the time for email marketing called Referizer. And over a 3-month period, I started to sell this solution to larger brands, which that company hadn't been in, like Massage Envy, Elements Massage, Orange Theory Fitness, who had 300 units at the time, and we helped them scale to 1,800 units globally with this solution. So I started to get in the enterprise sales, as people say, accounts that are generating more than, call it, $100 million in revenue. And I got asked a wild question from my customers, and that was, who do you recommend for credit card processing? I know as soon as I said that, everybody's like, ugh, nasty, because there's no real transparency in the space. It's like, it's a very crooked space. And I didn't know that at the time. So I called my buddy, who I knew his dad was in credit card processing. I said, hey, I have an opportunity with Orange Theory to do their processing. And he was like, how fast can you get to Austin? And I said, why? And he said, because let me teach you how to sell it, and you can sell it easily to them and go make a bunch of money. So next day I flew to Austin, Texas. A week later, I was selling credit card processing. And I think this is a really unique part of the story. I was told by my boss, who was the president of the company, and this was the 7th largest credit card processor in the country at the time, processing $3 billion. They had no inside sales team. And he basically told me, go into a business, tell them that you're there to audit their statement to see if you could beat it. Well, I got 11 doors slammed on my face out of all 11 that I went to the first day.
For sure.
And I learned something really important, and that's that people love honesty more than I could ever imagine. So the next day, after pepping myself up in the mirror and being like, you got this, you're not going to have the door slammed on you, I walked into Cedar Park Gunworks. Tiffany Weeks, thank you for this opportunity. Chris and Tiffany Weeks, I don't forget about you. And I said, hey guys, I ditched the suit. I wore a t-shirt and shorts and flip-flops into the business. And I said, hey guys, my name's Carl Case, and I have a sales pitch for you. It's going to take less than 2 minutes. I'm the first inside sales guy of the 7th largest credit card processing company right across the street. You would never know they're there because there's no name on the door, but I'm telling you we're there. You can come
Right.
anytime. I just got hired to be the first inside sales guy, and my only job is to get a credit card processing statement. I know you probably don't want me to know how much you make. I get that. But what I would love to do is take it back and just show my boss that I could do it. I don't need your business. I would love to be able to earn it and show you what I can get, but I want to be able to just show him that I can do it and walk in with a piece of paper. You can give me one from 2 years ago if you want, just something. And they said, of course, we'll help you. Next
Wow.
day, or that day, I continued on to 10 more businesses. I got 9 out of the 10. I sold 7 out of the 10 on processing. And I was now making fractions of pennies, which is not something that I had ever done before. I didn't understand really that it, 1/10 of a penny here and a 1/10 of a penny there can one day lead up to a lot of money. And then my whole career shifted with Office Depot. I was fortunate to sign Office Depot and help them convince other business owners, because an average of the 1,400 Office Depot locations that were in existence in 2015 post Office Max merger, 300 decision makers a day walked into Office Depot to whether it was to buy paper or whatever it may be, just decision makers across 1,400 locations. So that's, tens of thousands of people walking in. And all that I did was convince Office Depot to put a payments at officedepot.com and we would audit it.
Let me ask you this. What year was that?
2015.
2015.
I was asked at an Office Depot, about and so, it's funny.
Good.
You mentioned this before, and I'm like, I almost remember this as, a person going in for Postrico, buying some stuff for a trade show, and then it hit me up on that aspect of it. So it was you that was the brains behind it all. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. We were getting hundreds of applications a day, needed to scale the business. The guy I was working for that taught me the business, unfortunately, wasn't in that honorable state that I was looking for and wanted to renege on my deal at the last minute. So we pulled out of there, sold the Office Depot contract, and got into the wild, wild west again of restaurant technology. My dad had owned restaurants my whole life. Minimum wage was going up to $15. Operators had no idea what to do. McDonald's had just posted a case study that they were piloting an internal self-ordering kiosk that I'd never heard of that word before. And they were seeing a 30% uptick in actual revenue generated by the business. So fast forward 3.5 years later, I'm really proud to say that I embedded and created Burger King Global's mobile app, touchscreen kiosk, and website, and licensed that to Taco Bell, Panda Express, Dunkin' Donuts, Subway, Popeyes, Tim Hortons, and I learned hyperscale. We deployed 43,000 restaurants in under 3.5 years. And I'll tell you what, it would take a lot for me to get back into restaurant tech. I really prefer chiropractic.
Wow. Now, what this means for everybody that are chiropractors out there, you're now seeing the scale of what Carl has done from a business acumen. So when I met him, Indeed met him, we realized, because Deed did his research long before I even told him anything. He said, I want to meet this guy because he's legit. So kudos, keep going. I just wanted to interject there.
Thanks, Joe. So my journey didn't stop. I exited that company in 2019 to a little screen company called Samsung, and
never heard of them, by the way. I never heard of Samsung.
Got back into the mass texting space at Referizer. Worked alongside my old friend Andre Sivovich, the founder of Referizer, for the last 4.5 years. And we scaled Referizer to tens of thousands of businesses across 70 countries to help them with text and email automation. And then in 2024, we did a poll on 1,000 brands that we worked with. We called them during normal business hours. Dr. Jaeger, how many of those 1,000 business brands that we called, do you think what percent of calls were answered during normal business hours by people that have a hired front desk staff there to answer calls all day?
no matter what, I'm going to hate this, but 25%.
24%. That was
Oh, look, terrible.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
24% of businesses answered the phone.
Ugh.
Guys, that is a big, big, big problem.
Yes.
Forget the fact that every business owner most likely is spending an hour of their month getting pitched by another marketing company on how they can get
Right.
new, better leads into the system. You got to start by answering the dang phone.
Right.
And so I quickly left Referizer and started a company called Rapid Talk AI. And Rapid Talk AI scaled pretty quickly in the enterprise call center space, focusing on call centers and displacing repetitive agents. Because in the call center space, here's a really crazy statistic. The average call center agent that answers the same questions and answers for 3 days leaves on day 4. So
Wow.
you can imagine the turnover in these multi-hundred person call centers. And there was a gap for us to solve. Well, here's why I'm in Utah and why we're talking on the phone. I years ago had connected with Nick Greer, the founder of Scipio, and also the founder of Built Protein Bars and Spilt Protein Milk. You can find Built at Walmart, Target, Costco, anywhere that you shop. I definitely recommend it. My personal favorite is the cookie dough. Even though I'm gluten-free, I poison myself once in a while for it.
Yeah. It's good. They're tasty.
Yeah. And Nick at the time, 3.5 years prior, had said, Carl, you should buy Scipio at Referizer. And I said, no, we're not interested in that. And fast forward today, Scipio and Rapid Talk have merged as of February of 2025. And we now have a really incredible solution that helps business owners answer calls, texts, and web chats using AI. And the fruit of that labor is being here with Dr. Joe and Dr. Jason on
Here we are.
Converse AI, the white labeled, powered by Scipio solution that is backed by a 10-year long organization supporting tens of thousands of businesses across the globe. Now, specifically built for chiropractors, where we have built alongside dozens of CBP docs, Dr. Joe, Dr. Deed, to have the ultimate AI employee. Now, you might be saying, Carl, my office runs differently and I'm not a CBP doc, but well, we'll have a separate conversation as to why.
Yeah.
But what we've done is we've created almost 86 variables that vary from practice to practice. And within 15 minutes, you can answer those questions. And now you have a fully robust AI employee that can answer your calls, your texts, your web chats, and book that customer or potential patient into your calendar, no matter what EHR you're using, as long as the patient can schedule on their own.
Yep. And I just want to interject here because when we met you, we kind of knew what you did a little bit. We did our research after that. And Deed, it's, and by the way, just if you're joining the podcast now and seeing it, Deed had a storm. And so he got kicked off because of his internet connection. But Deed joined me. He agreed to meet at your headquarters in American Fork, Utah. And the first thing you said to us was, your doctors are not answering their phones. And I'm like, our doctors answer the phones. And he's like, no, they don't. And I'm like, and Deed was like, Deed already knew, like, who are we going to pick? Because I bet you this guy's going to go down the roster, right? And we picked a bunch of people and only 2 people answered the phone, right? And out of all the people,
at 2:00 on a Tuesday.
Yeah. And it was embarrassing to say the least. And then the one person that answered the call didn't do, let's just say, they were not a stellar employee getting us interested. The other person, and I have to give them shouts out, and I don't even
shout out Joe Betts.
Joe Betts and Shelly.
Joe Betts. Yeah, Joe and Shelly Betts and Joe is the president of the ICA, and we're not making this stuff up. This is literally what happened. Whoever his CA was that answered the phone was amazing, right? But the problem is that that's not the experience that we saw, and those people would have lost a potential patient, because guess what's going to happen? They're just going to roll over to the next person who answers the phone. and your staff does not call them back on time, how do I know? Jason, how do you know? Because I ran a practice, Jason runs a practice. And then the biggest thing is, well, like, oh, we return calls. Yeah, at a busy time, like right now between 4 to say 7 at your busiest hour, that phone's ringing off the hook. Who is answering that when you're checking out patients? It's going to voicemail, right? So that's where we came in and we scaled a version that was customized on top of what he's already provided so that we didn't have to try and build this from scratch. It was on an established company, which a lot of people don't understand, that has thousands of users worldwide on some big companies. So I just wanted to interject there because we were a little embarrassed about our docs didn't answer the phone. So,
Well, I'll also say that this is not an anomaly in chiropractic. I'll give some data points. 86% of customers expect a call back within 5 minutes of leaving a voicemail. If they don't get it, they move on to the next business. That's a really tough statistic. So if you think about it, if your office closes at 6 o'clock and then somebody happens to call in at 6:01 or later in the evening with excruciating back pain and they found you on Google, which we're going to talk about in a second, how to get found on Google.
Yep.
That patient or potential patient only wants to know one thing: how fast can you fix me?
Yep.
So if I have a service or you're using ChiroConverse to answer that call, ask the patient their basic information, name, email address. We already know their phone number.
Right.
Can I text you a link to book an appointment? Or even better, I see availability at 8:15 tomorrow morning. Does that work for you? Imagine being that patient that's barely walking, that now knows that in a matter of hours, they're going to get a really great chiropractor to adjust them and they'll be feeling better. They're not calling the next office.
Right.
So these solutions are built to help you scale. And imagine me telling you this pitch: you can make more money while doing less.
Yep. It
Go
doesn't
figure.
happen. Yep.
Yeah.
So, but I'll do the last plug on ChiroConverse. Head to chiroconverse.ai, call the agent, see the testimonials of live docs, call their offices to experience it for you or for them. And for $500, get a solution that always books in patients. Your total billables of a new patient should be well above the $500 mark. If not, especially if you're in PIP, you could be in $15,000, $20,000, $30,000. And this solution makes sure that those don't ever go to the next doc. And for those of you that are CBP docs, and for those of you that aren't, I hope this resonates, make sure that they get to the right doctor the first time.
Right. And I want to just put this out there for you guys just to know how customized this is on top of what you're going to customize. I spent a long time going through all the types of questions in detail about what is CBP, what is, hey, I got scoliosis, what's available. So there is so much customized on the back end of this. You can ask it. I put this up to any AI agents out there. Go ahead and ask the same question of any other AI agent out there and see what the difference is with what we have. Literally.
I'm laughing because most of our docs staff actually call the agent to learn about things that the doctor can do because they're just not as educated as they want to be, which is the proof that this is there.
Yeah, you could just call it and just do that. But enough of that, as far as they're going to see the value as soon as they call it and just say, hey, I want to go ahead and learn more, and then just role play with it and throw some real questions at it. Say, like, literally say that, oh, I have low back pain. Oh, what caused? Okay, well, I was skiing, hit my head going down the mountain. I was bleeding, then fell into a tree well, and go down this convoluted story.
Oh, geez.
And it follows you with it. And one last thing before you move on to what they're going to really gain some additional value on is we have some interesting, very unique things that are going to be in a pipeline for what we have. I don't really want to go into that now.
You're good to announce it, Joe.
Okay. All right. I can't get in trouble for this now. So what we're in beta with right now is basically doing your whole chiropractic medical history before they come into the office.
If I may, all of us can't stand going to a new office that has us required to fill out a form. And every person listening knows that your job in there, or your job that you've assigned to yourself, is how fast as humanly possible can I fill out this form with the
Click,
least
click,
amount
click,
of
click,
information
click.
so that I can be
Yep.
treated. What
Yep.
we're empowering you to do now is to empower your patients to call into a number, and within a few minutes, we will have a voice conversation of their medical intake, so that you as the doc are now empowered with way more information than ever before, because people spill the beans over the phone versus not. So now you mix that with posture screen, and now you can easily tell a patient, okay, I know exactly where you are, and I can show you exactly where we're going. And your meeting time got shrunk, and that patient feels like, oh my gosh, I am heard, and this is the place that I have been looking for.
Yes.
Yep. And I'll say something that's also unannounced, because might as well, give out our proprietary secrets, but they can't duplicate this. Imagine using our remote screen through a link. So literally, not only you're going to have the intake, but imagine your posture screens being done before they come in, and you already have their photos on your posture screen at the office, with the intake coming in into our posture scribe AI. So now all those notes, you sit down, you have all that to start with. Talk about a comprehensive full circuit of what we can do in AI. So I haven't been this excited, Carl and Jason, since like we first launched Posture Screen and launched Posture A. I'm truly, this motivation since meeting you last year is what got me all excited about AI. So thank you on that. And I guess if Jason doesn't have any questions on this, do you, Jason, on since Steve's not here?
Let me rave about it just for a little bit. So you and I teach for Chiropractic Biophysics, and we're doing these seminars, whether it's a weekend or we're doing the week long, that's 80 hours right in a row in Eagle, Idaho, at the Ideal Spine Health Center and the CVP Doctor Institute. You've been testing this on me. Well, we'll sit there conversationally while you're doing my range of motion and my posture screen, and it literally turns it into a perfect stop note. Like, it's incredible. So this is such a pattern interrupter, and I don't think people really, really understand. And I can't wait for them to see more, but it's incredible. And going backwards, when I've heard you call and test the AI receptionist, you're having a conversation with what almost sounds like a person. And then you're being conversational, Joe, and you're being confrontational. Like, you'll ask him or her to do something. You're like, nope, stop talking. I want to talk about something else. And it's real. I was calling on my flight yesterday. I called one of my congresspersons yesterday, and I asked for an appointment because their web link wouldn't work. And so I said, hi, my name's Dr. Jason Jaeger. I'm with the Nevada so-and-so organization. I'd like to get an appointment to meet with the legislative assistant. What's your name again?
Yeah.
The AI doesn't do that. The AI is like, hey, Jason, or hey, Dr. Jaeger. Like they just remember everything. And talk about not feeling heard or loved by my congressperson. Like I go, well, as I mentioned, right, when you picked up the phone, my name's Dr. Jason Jaeger. Oh, and you're with who?
Yeah.
It's incredible. So
it is.
Us three talking about it doesn't do a tenth of the enthusiasm that you would have when you hear it and see it. It's really cool. Okay. Thanks for letting me rant for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jason.
All right. Get excited, everybody, because now that we've spent a few minutes on validating that, I hope that you feel the desire to listen to the words coming out my mouth. I have no desire but to educate based on hard facts that I have studied, tested rigorously over the last decade. And I'm ready to spill the beans for you. So I want you to be very honest, and this is not a trick question. Where do you and every single person that you know anywhere in the world go to find the answers to the questions that they don't know? And this is the same answer for the last 25 years.
Yeah, the same answer has been Google.
Yep.
Google.
Yeah. Google it. It's become a verb.
Google it. Yeah. And especially as, over the last couple of months, we've had, I used to ask this to 100 people, and I'd get one random answer. Like, I go to Pinterest and I'm like, please explain to me how Pinterest can tell me what restaurant's available tonight for
Right.
that's Italian near me.
Right.
Doesn't happen. But
Right.
recently I've been getting these, I use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I use Perplexity. I use Anthropic. I use Google Gemini. Well, they're all feeding off of one source, which
Yep.
is Google, especially when we're looking at local service businesses like chiropractors. ChatGPT is validating that information by Google My Business profiles. So what I'm going to go through today in the next few minutes is a way for you to get up to 300% more traffic to your phone system than you ever thought possible. And these things are going to seem really, really obvious to you, and that's okay, but it's time to implement it. We'll also put a link on ChiroConverse. I'll add it so that if you want to download the cheat sheet on how to optimize your Google My Business page, we'll put that on the website after this podcast. It'll just be on the top, optimize my Google page. And I encourage you to share this portion with every person that you know, because what's the fun part about knowing something that other people don't know? Being the guy that gets to educate them on it. So I get to be that guy for you today. So what I want to start with the basics before I share my screen and walk you through things. And the basics are, how many patients do you Dr. Jaeger, let me pick on you for a second. How many patients do you think that you would say that you've seen since you started your practice?
Well, we've seen hundreds of thousands of visits. I mean, a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And out of your clinic specifically?
Yes.
And you had multiple clinics too, Jason. So
yeah. So at one point I was as large as 7 clinics across 2 states, but each single clinic would see 10 to 15,000 visits per clinic per year. How many patients is that? 300 to 500 a year.
Yeah, and then lifetime, there's thousands of patients that you've come in contact with. Like 10,000 is usually like the people that have been in practice for a little bit.
And I'm 25, going on 26 years of practice.
Yeah.
If I was to guess, out of those practices, very few of them, if any, ever had more than 100 reviews on their Google My Business page.
I think that most clinics don't have 100 reviews and they have less. I really paid attention to it. So, I'm screwing us up. I'm probably, if we Google me, 300, but nonetheless, it's something that's totally ignored and left.
Yep. And I didn't even know about it. And Google was around when I was practicing, so I probably didn't have any.
Well, out of the probably 1,000 docs that I've called and looked at their page, because if you couldn't tell, I like to go all in on things when I get excited. And Dr. Joe and his brother that wanted to murder me got me excited. The average clinic that I see has less than 30 reviews. Of those clinics that I speak to, they've been in practice, most of them, over 30 years. So that means one person per year had such a stellar experience or such a horrific experience
Exactly.
that they felt inclined to leave a review. It's time, guys.
Yeah.
I'm really, and I'm going to show you some data in a second, but asking your patients for reviews, you personally, not your office staff, not through a text, not through a QR code when they're checking out saying, hey, we would love a review, but you as the doctor, when you have that aha moment with your patient, which I imagine is happening multiple times a day, the greatest thing that you can do for your practice to future-proof it with AI is to say one thing. Hey, I'm so glad that you got what you expected out of this. I really have the desire, and even if your practice is full now, doesn't mean that it will be in the future. I really have the desire of helping more patients in our local area. And the best thing that you could do for me to say thanks for fixing you today is just by leaving me a sentence on Google about your experience, however you want to say it. Is it okay if my office sends you a text to make that easy that you could do it in one click? Heck yeah.
Yep.
So even so much so as following them out to the checkout or to the next place and say, hey, front desk staff or whomever's there, please make sure that this patient gets the text to leave a review because they really loved what we did today.
Mm-hmm.
That little piece is going to catastrophically change the way that your practice is found and found not only on Google, but everywhere that people are searching. So with that being said, let's get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
I'm going to share my screen and show you things that might seem so obvious, but they're not. So I'm logged into a CBP doc in my home backyard in sunny South Florida. And I want to show you some things that will really optimize the page. First things first, go Dr. Haseen. You're doing great. 121 reviews. My computer's not letting me click. So we're going to read these reviews, and I want you to notice that there's a reply here. Now, what I'm about to say is going to sound crazy to you. When we reply here, we're going to use AI to maximize. Notice that we have 4,000 characters that we can put in here. Now, you might think, what the heck am I going to say to this patient that's 4,000 words? What am I going to say? Well, it's not up to you. And what we're going to do is we're going to, on that doc after, we're going to give you a prompt that you can use that's essentially encouraging your AI model of choice, whether that be ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, if you're Dr. Joe, whatever you prefer, to respond to these reviews. But really, we don't care too much about what the patient said. That's going to be the first 2 sentences. The rest of it's going to be used for marketing. So an example of that would be that our chiropractic office is located on the side of I-95 headed north in Delray Beach next to Target and Home Depot. Did you know that we also support people that have scoliosis by using ScoliBrace? And if you're having issues sleeping, we also sell Denarol. And with that, we can accomplish X, Y, and Z. And we are ultimately creating the most hyper relevant, hyper local response to all of these reviews so that now we see ourselves popping up that when I search for back pain in Delray Beach near I-95 and Target, that our page will show up. It's really, really important because this will trickle down across everyone. Now, one thing that we're going to do is write unique reviews for all 121 in this case, so that they're unique. And the way to do that is we go into our language model, we tell them our AI language model, we tell them where we're located, we tell them all of the services and products that we use, our training, and basically do a data dump on our life and our practice and where it's located. It will most likely have a lot of the information, but we want to give it more. And then we say, I have 121 reviews to respond to. I want all of them to be very unique and to maximize the 4,000 characters available for me to respond to on Google My Business. If you do nothing else other than get new reviews and respond to them, you will be dominating Google, but we're going to do more. And there's something else I want to show you. Chiropractor in Delray Beach. So we haven't optimized this page, but you notice we have one sponsored, and then we have this huge one. We have the factory here, the joint. And notice, why would the joint be on top of the person that has 591 reviews? Doesn't make sense. Well, it does, because Google promotes the business with the newest, best responded to reviews. So that means that the joint had a newer review come in than the business below them. And that review, they're starting to respond to reviews, versus if I went here, this customer is not responding to reviews and is not getting as many new reviews as the business on top of them. So you might be thinking, what if I don't have any reviews? Well, that's totally cool, because even if you have one review there, this will allow you to be the newest business on top. Even if I started a new chiropractor today and I only had one review, but it was newer and responded to than the others, I would outrank even the guy with 900 of them.
So they can't just sit on their butt and not do anything if they got. And I think this is the problem. I almost guarantee a lot of people with a bunch of reviews think they're set. They don't even have to pay attention to them now. And then the young guy goes, how am I going to compete against all these reviews? Well, there's your answer right there. It's a fair, even playing field. You just have to easily respond, which literally it takes no time, especially with the AI. This is great.
And it's free.
Yep.
It's free. I know every doc here is tired of spending tens of thousands of dollars on marketing and new websites and whatever it may be. This is free, and it's off of your hard work that you're already doing. So spend an extra 2 minutes on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
We're going to keep going. So that's the real obvious, like time to get new reviews, respond to them, maximize the 4,000 keywords. So I think we've learned 2 things so far on this podcast. 1, text your patients. 2, ask for reviews and respond to them, because if you don't respond to them, we could get lost in the field, and it doesn't matter that we got a bunch of new ones. We got to write responses, and our advantage is to respond with 4,000 keywords. Now we're going to take it to the, okay, maybe not as obvious, but there is buttons here. So we're going to add products for each and everything that we do here. I would love it if you could put your own picture, like Dr. Hasim there with his great smile, showing people that he has poor posture treatment. And then we have a description, 796 of the 1,000 characters, doing well. If we happen to have a landing page on our site that tags back to poor posture treatment, tag it there. If not, we can just put our website or nothing. It's optional. I recommend having something specific for each page that we have, but if not, no big deal. And having all of the products and services that we offer inside of products, even as a service. Now we want to duplicate that again when we come over to services. So in here, we have 300 keywords. We've maximized this with 297. If we don't have a price, obviously we don't want to put it. And service, plain as simple. I think shorter is better here because people are searching for those, but we want to have everything that we offer here. Dr. Hasim can definitely build this out even more, but this is a great first start. So to recap, we want reviews, we want products, we want services, and now it's time for photos. So most people, like we have one that was uploaded a month ago, is wonderful. I recommend also having uploads of what it looks like outside of your business so that people can see it and Google can see it. But adding photos, there's also nothing better, especially if you're dealing with posture screen, if you're able to put a before and after treatment picture with their smiley face and a short texted version of their testimonial. There's nothing better than seeing real patients live with the results that they've seen. And who knows, maybe it's somebody that they know that they'll come up and see on that image.
Exactly.
The last thing, I just unshared, is I'm going to prove to you that this works. So before you guys do that, I want you to go to, you can notice when I touch Dr. Hasim's page, but I want you to go to Google Performance and I want you to screenshot each of these. And what that looks like for me is screenshotting here over this time period, as long as it will let me, our overview, our calls, our bookings, our directions, our website clicks, and you should start to see a significant, if not double, the amount of traffic when we optimize this page. This is proof, guys, that we are able to double, if not triple, the results that you get month over month when it comes to implementing these few tips and tricks.
And this is free. This is something a doctor can do him or herself. It doesn't take buying, a service. Literally, this takes no time whatsoever to just do this. It's like low-hanging fruit. This is so easy to do.
Low-hanging fruit. And when this button starts getting called all the time, this call button, and your staff is overwhelmed, you go to ChiroConverse and that problem goes away. So
exactly.
Obviously, I want to teach you guys reasons to want to need a software that's a solution that we've built. But listen, whether you use ChiroConverse or anything that I've built in the past, I hope that you can and that you find value. But at the very least, your practice and the way that the world finds you today is changing rapidly by the minute with these new technologies that are coming out. But there's only one thing that has been consistent in the way that consumers find brands for the last 25 years, and that's Google. And
Yeah.
luckily, all of these language models are learning from that. And there's no better validation than a Google My Business review that is responded to by the business.
That is gold right there, guys. Yeah. Jason, what do you think?
I'm flabbergasted. And it's funny because it just changes so fast, and there's so many cool things you can do. Carl, last year I attended a chiropractic conference, and one of our keynotes was a gal saying, "Get to know AI. Here's some of what it could do." So here was my only takeaway, because I was still a little resistant a year ago. Um, she said, just try doing an AI search instead of a Google. Just try it. Do it every day, and then do it a little bit more the next day, and a little bit more the next day. And so I'm like, I can do that. And it has become an integral part of my function now. And I love it. And it's improved my productivity. It's reduced simple clerical times for me. I mean, even yesterday I was on the plane with Wi-Fi on the plane on AI, putting together a list and letters, emails, contact numbers for all my congressmen and senators in preparation for meetings next week. So, and that's, one of a billion things I haven't thought of that it can do. So cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And the big take home here, because there's a lot of misunderstanding. What Carl is saying here too is that these large language models, ChatGPT, Grok, Perplexity, you name what model, even the ones from China, they're going to Google and using Google as the proof. So you might think to yourself, well, everybody goes to ChatGPT now. Google, when you start Googling now, what's that first paragraph that comes up? Do you think that's
AI
traditional
summary.
Google? It's AI.
AI summary. Yeah.
Right? So by you doing this on Google is putting you organically above your competition, because the rest of the competition is going to be lazy. And they're going to hire somebody who starts off great and then they're lazy. So you can literally do the right thing and easily.
Do you guys remember when you could scroll to Google on the 20th page?
Oh, yeah.
4 years ago, Google got rid of multi-pages. It's gone. They show you the top 5 things, and then there's nothing else that populates anymore.
That's it. Wow.
Yep.
But Doc, you wouldn't have known that because you haven't had to scroll, because
Nope.
it finds you the things that you're looking for without needing it. And if it didn't, you wouldn't use Google. So the way that they validate it is through real people and real reviews. And you can't just pop up a Google My Business page anymore. You got to validate it with mail. You got to validate it with a video. There's a lot of validation that goes in there. I'd love to spend 2 minutes, Dr. Joe and Dr. Jaeger. What are some out of the box ways that you use AI today that you don't think that other people even know that they can do it like that?
Well, for me, running the business, there's a lot of business things that I do from not, and I'm saying running the business. Of course, I have an AI component, and that's a whole nother separate thing. But things that used to take forever, writing copy. I used to have people write copy for ads and things like that. Now I can tell what I want, from even artwork to anything, and it gives me the framework where it can be refined later. Contracts is a big thing with, legal. And this is my take home with AI. Of course, there's going to be some jobs displaced, but it's not going to be just AI that replaces people. The people using AI are going to replace those people that are not. And so what I'm teaching my son right now is, and he's learning real fast, is you need to learn it better than anybody else, because you're the person that is going to understand this for your marketing career. Like right now, he's big into doing marketing for businesses and stuff locally. This is what's going to set you apart, because for us, when Jason and I were growing up, we would have to hire all these people, and the turnaround time was like a month to get anything, right? And now literally I could have my story brand for my clinic, which this is another podcast that we could do that Carl taught me about. What's your statement and your mission and things that you're doing, and is it consistent with your brand? And everywhere they look, I didn't even know that world until Carl, and now it's so easy to come up with this stuff, but you're in control. I use AI, and not just one, I use them all. They all have specialties on what they can do. And of course, on our business, we're training the AI on neural networks for reading x-rays, posture and things. And of course, our scribe, and it's different than what other people are doing. So I use it all day long in all sorts of aspects of our business. So that's how I'm using it. Jason, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the same. So my process has always been as a CEO or a facility director or treating doctor is to be surrounded by a team. And I may take an assistant, for example, and I'll go, here's my concept, here's where I want you to look. Give me a draft on writing X. And then they would give that to me. That's my creative process. And then I would turn it into something beautiful from there. Well, AI can do all that, and it does it faster and it does it better. But the thing is it's getting to know me faster and it's getting to know me better, and it's getting to draw, on X and Z and 1 and 21 and all these different things I'm doing. So I'm using it administratively, I'm using it legally, I'm using it regulatory. I'm using it to fast learn on something, getting
Absolutely.
summaries. So and I know, like I'll talk to my wife and her friends and how they use AI, and it's so much different. And I'm like, I never even thought of using it that way.
Yep.
But that's the thing. It's can you dare to imagine, to think about what you didn't think and then try it?
And I have to do a shameless plug here. Carl knows I'm going to go this way. I happen to be a fanboy for Elon Musk on some things, and I happen to have, let's just disclose, I have a Cybertruck. I mean, did you think otherwise? I have a normal car too. I literally will have conversations about things that I need to research while I'm driving. And literally, I just tell Grok, hey, I want to go to Crunch Fitness. On the way home, I need to hit the UPS store, then go to Publix. Go ahead and navigate. And I just hit start. It drives me the whole time. Now that it's driving me, I'm I'm paying attention. Legally, I have to say I'm paying attention. It drives really well. But I'm able to focus and ask it questions from things like, I got lab results back and I wanted to know, could berberine supplementation be the reason why my cholesterol dropped so much on recent blood work? I can literally ask it things. And I'm telling you, doctors, people like to make fun of, oh, well, you think that Chat GPT is going to replace a doctor. Man, I am telling you, there are some things that it can do better. But of course, our profession in chiropractic, physical therapy, things with their hands, trades, those are going to be here for a long time, especially our profession. I think our profession has a golden future because I love Optimus, but I don't think it's going to be able to give good adjustments anytime soon. But to be able to talk to it and brainstorm while I'm driving down the road, instead of listening to my radio, I'm brainstorming, having conversations about what I want to do when I get back and working out problems from the new prompt that I'm crafting for Posture Scribe and Posture Screen, how I'm going to write that prompt so that way Jason gets better outcome when he does his patient history or something like that. So I can whiteboard it, if you will, while I'm driving down the road. So that I just wanted to add that part in there.
I want to add a couple things. So we see a common theme here. Yes, Dr. Jason said, my wife uses it in totally different ways that I never thought possible. I bet if both of you were to look at how you use it to look at legal agreements and draft contracts, it's also totally different. Most people are not using it for much. I want to encourage you all to download ChatGPT and use that this black button. And when you do it, you're having a conversation now with your AI. So there's no need to talk to it. There's no need to type. There's no need to do anything. So instead of playing the music on your phone, just put your phone on there, press it, and start talking. The one thing that I want to encourage everyone here to do, and encourage those that are scared of this, is to do the 1 week challenge. And it sounds like Dr. Jaeger, you did that. And that is, for 1 week, don't use Google.
Right.
Don't. Go to the language model, and you can use Google's AI if you want, but don't go to Google searches traditionally, and just go to AI for any question that you have and see how you like it. Ways that I use it that are out of the box: I am the most efficient person out of anyone that I know. If I make a wrong turn and it puts me 12 minutes out of the way, that's probably the only way you can make me angry, is by wasting my time, because I've realized in life, no matter how much money I have, time is something that I just can't buy. And I use it to find me the cheapest, best route on flights. I use it to find the cheapest gasoline. I use it to find, I'll take a picture of my refrigerator and say, I'm starving. What meal can I make out of these ingredients?
Yep.
Wow.
I I took pictures of menus and say, what would I like that to eat here that would be out of the box that I probably wouldn't typically order? Um, what are other ways that I do it? I
Uh,
say, go ahead.
I was going to say one use case that you just reminded me of. I took it, turned on the camera, and said to Grok, "Hey, why is this plant dying? What am I doing wrong?" And it identified it
Perfect.
and told me every single thing. Basically, it said I'm an idiot. I'm overwatering it. But literally, it diagnosed the plant what the
Yeah.
problem was by just talking to it. I hung the ceiling fan up, right? I'm no electrician. They had wires coming out from this, and my brother said, "Hey, look, what are you doing? You're touching electrical?" I'm like, "Don't worry, Grok has my back." I literally turn on the video camera and say, "Grok, these are not the traditional colors. What's going on?" It literally led me through what to do. It's mind blowing.
I just submitted a code plans to get a permit for my a hot tub that I'm getting installed, and said, here's the hot tub, here's the location. What do I need to submit the documentation to get the permit? I mean, I hope that these few use cases encourage you to just
Mhm.
ask it.
Yep.
I'm yet to find something where it says I can't do that. So
Mhm.
why not get an expert in your field to teach you more, and have it cite sources. So my
Mhm.
partner's a scientist. She can't stand anything that isn't sourced
And
or
her name is on the moon too, I found out.
2 times.
Yes.
Uh, Dr. Joe's is 1 time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and people, that's another story. It's my grandfather's who worked for NASA, but she is a PhD and qualified for a space geologist, so she knows her stuff. Yeah.
but I really I encourage everyone, lean in. This is not a fad. This is not
Mhm.
something that's going away. And most importantly, businesses that don't embrace it, even the smallest piece like Google My Business,
Mhm.
unfortunately, I don't think are going to survive.
Yep.
There's only so much that word of mouth can do, and especially after recently going to Parker in Vegas, I've never met so many chiropractors that have zero competition. They have
Right.
no competition. They're like, "Yeah, I'm the only chiropractor within 100 miles, so if I don't answer the phone, I don't care." Well, that's not exactly the chiropractors that I've met at CBP.
No.
Right.
So I really encourage you, embrace the tech. Reach out to me with your successes on LinkedIn. My name's Carl Case. I personally respond to them. I'm not active on any other social profiles. I prefer it that way. And
Mhm.
yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to dump some knowledge on you all today, and lean in. It's time.
And we'll make that link available, Carl, in this podcast. In the description, we're going to make that link available so you can learn more about Google My Business and some things that you can do. And of course, shameless plug for everything that we do here in CBP, ChiroConverse.ai, and is our startup that Deed and I co-founded with Carl. And of course, with Posture Screen or PostureScribe.ai, what we're doing for all the notes and narratives and everything there. Um, yeah, so we'll have that, and you can reach out. Carl, is there another way they can get a hold of you if they need to?
LinkedIn's typically best.
Okay.
Um, my email is really a dark hole. I do
Me too.
use AI to
Yeah.
I use Google Gemini, which is another way that I do it. I go in and say, "What do I need to read from today?" And it populates the emails, and everything else, it slips through the cracks.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn, would love to connect, but ultimately, I'd love to see the screenshots of before and after. So take one
Yeah.
30 days before, take one after, and prove to me that this continues to work.
Yeah. Awesome.
Hey, I just want to say, when you sometimes you just meet somebody and you guys met and you knew each other had something, you were special, and um especially as we become successful, you amplify who you are, and sometimes it amplifies a person that is good or that it's doing good. Sometimes it'll amplify in a person that they're doing bad things. And you are just a bright light. I'm so pleased that I got to meet you as a result of meeting
Yeah.
you meeting Joe. And thank you for your interest and your love in chiropractic biophysics and chiropractic. We appreciate you. You're a great man, and I'm happy to call you a new friend.
Thank you,
Yes,
Dr.
me
Jaeger.
too.
Thanks, Dr. Joe. I'm here to stay. I'm taller than ever since meeting CBP docs, and
Yeah.
I shred more than ever on the mountain.
Yes, you
Amen.
do, my friend. And
Amen.
we have to apologize for Dr. Deed. His internet was spotty during a big storm, but he'll be back next week when we record the next one. And Carl, we'd love to have you back and talk some more because you got so many gems that people can benefit from. So we're absolutely going to make you a regular on this podcast.
25 comments of people that have revolutionized their business, and I'll come back on to bring more to you. So get
Let's do it.
active. Let us know. Post, comment, all the things that all the social people say. Just do it. Show us the results. Don't just talk. Be about it.
Awesome. All right,
Awesome.
guys,
Carl
we're going to
Case.
Yeah, Carl, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you, guys.
See you guys soon.